And the masters of the universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Hey everybody out there, thank you again for joining me on my retro gaming channel. Today I have a 80s toy collection for you. I finally got around to getting into all my He-Man stuff, and I've got quite a bit of it. So I'm actually going to split this video. This is going to be part 1, this is just going to be my figures, and then I'll have a part 2 coming out sometime in the future. So let's go ahead and get into what I have for my figures. Alright, I'm going to start with my Snake Men collection. So first off, I got King Hiss. He was pretty much the leader of the Snake Men. Pretty cool toy. You take his arms off, he's got snakes for arms, and then you can take his body apart here. And then, yeah, he's pretty much just one big snake with legs, with a bunch of little extra snakes all around. He's like Medusa, but the snakes come out of his waist instead of his head. I do have him complete. He only came with the shield and the snake staff there. Next, we have Tongue Lasher. And what's cool about these He-Man toys is most of these characters had some kind of special ability, something that they would do to kind of make them stand out from the others, so the kids would want to keep playing with them. And him, he would lash his tongue, hence Tongue Lasher. So that was a pretty cool little extra on that toy. Got all his weapons too. He's got a snake staff, and it looks like a dragonfly gun crossbow thing. And next we have Ratlor, or Ratlor. Ends with an O-R, as in you will see a ton of He-Man characters end with OR. You'll see as we go on. Now he only came with the snake staff. If you listen, they added little beads in there so you can sound like he's a rattlesnake. And behind the tail there's a switch. You hit the switch, and his head would pop out. So again, the Snake Men were pretty cool. They all had some kind of really cool ability or something that they did. All right, and here's the next one. This is Squeeze. He's got like 3 S's in front to kind of, I guess, imitate the snakes. So yeah. But his special ability is his arms are really long and they kind of bend, and you can kind of, it's got some kind of like bendable wire in it, so you can like wrap it around things. And then his hands will grip onto his arms, so you could put like people in chokeholds. He came with the one snake weapon, which just kind of just wrapped around his arm there. And last for the actual Snake Men collection is Snakeface. Now he's arguably one of the hardest characters to find in pretty much the entire Master of the Universe collecting. As far as the old toys, he's one, at least in the top 5 hardest to find. And I do have his weapons, snake staff, and he's got a shield. And his ability, so all these snakes come popping out of his face and his chest. He's got a little switch back there. So yeah, the Snake Men were pretty cool overall. Not a whole lot of them. Oh, and real quick, here's an honorary mention to the Snake Men, and that is Cobra Khan. He's got a little reservoir here. You take his head off, you can fill it full of water, you can spray. Now, I say honorary mention because he was available before the Snake Men were even a thing. Before these figures came out, he was in the cartoon as a character. And if I recall, in the cartoons, he appeared with these Snake Men, and he worked with them. So he's technically one of the Snake Men. He was just released before that. He's technically part of the original, some of the older He-Man line before the whole Snake Men took over. So he doesn't have the little, snake thing on his chest, and the cardboard backing never said Snake Men. All right, next we're going to move into the Horde. Now, the Horde is She-Ra's enemy, which if you guys watching this probably know all about He-Man and She-Ra, twin siblings. They're twin siblings. These were the characters that she fought where she lived. And it was cool because these were marketed towards boys. So obviously I got these. My sister got the She-Ra stuff, and they were pretty cool. Again, they all did something kind of interesting versus just any like bland toy. Start with the leader, Hordak. What's funny, his character actually doesn't do anything besides just the basic spring in the waist. He just looks cool, and he's got his little bat and his crossbow, and he is complete. So is the cape intact too. A lot of time the kids will pull the cape out. And next we have Hurricane Hordak. Now this one actually did stuff. He's got a little deal back here that moves his arm around, I believe. You spin this, and I'm pretty sure whatever projectile you put in his hand would spin. So like you'd have this little spinning thing that would just spin. He's got this. He's got a little chopper thing. Looks like a helicopter. And then looks like some kind of mace-looking thing with a bunch of balls at the end. So yeah, that was maybe this was to make up for the fact that the original Hordak didn't really do anything extra beyond just basic movement. All right, so next we have Mantana. Now, there's Mantana. There we go. Now he looks a lot different than his cartoon counterpart. I believe the cartoon counterpart, his face was actually blue, I believe. You'd have to go back and watch, but I remember having like baby blue features, not a red face. But there he is, and he had 4 legs, so they kind of incorporated 2 legs in each foot there. And then he had a little switch, and his eyeballs popped out. That was his big thing in the show. His eyeballs would pop out. So the toy was cool. Doesn't really look a whole lot like the cartoon counterpart, but I mean, you can figure it out. It's Mantana. Next we have Leech. Now Leech was pretty cool, very common character to find too. I mean, I remember seeing Leeches all over the place on the shelves and stuff back in the day. Him and Mantana. He had little suction cups for hands that would really work as suction cups. His feet were just wide; they didn't have any suction on them. And the mouth here, there's a little hole right in the middle for air suction, so you could put them on glass or whatever, and you could hit this here. And what it would do is just suck the air, so you could stick them literally anywhere with a flat enough surface. And then we have Grizzlor, again with the ore. No, he didn't do anything special except for he had like real fur. He had fur all over him. Not real fur, but he was furry. So that was his big takeaway as a figure. And they all had these little guns. They were just a different color. They were just like little crossbows. All right, and then we have a Horde Trooper. These aren't very easy to come by, at least, from what I've seen. I wanted to get more of these at some point, back in the day, but they weren't easy to find. And now, I look online, they're not that cheap either, especially if you want one complete with a weapon. What was cool about this, the chest would open up, so it looked like you hit the button and his chest would open up, and it looked like he was, you killed him or whatever. And next we have, here's Modulok. Cool thing about him is he came with multiple pieces, so you can kind of create him however you want. They all snap together. He had different sets of legs, different sets of arms, heads, stuff like that. Here's more pieces for him. Some of these are duplicates. I have a full Modulok, and I was just looking, and I don't know where it's at, but this is like literally an extra Modulok. I have another one complete somewhere. This one's nearly complete. I don't know where it's at. But anyways, this is a majority of the pieces. He had another set of arms and a couple other of these connector pieces right up there. Oh, and real quick, I do have a boxed Modulok. This one is complete for sure, and you can see the all the different pieces that came in it, and all the different ideas for things you can make. All right, and going with the theme of building your character, here's Multibot. This one's a little bit more, you know, this particular character is a little bit harder to find in stores. It used the same idea as Modulok as far as a robot. All the pieces are in there. Again, you could do a lot of cool things with this. I wish I had one box. This would be kind of cool. You know, have this and the Modulok box, but unfortunately that one's a little pricey if you try finding that particular one. All right, and we have next Dragster. So the thing with this, he had a wheel on his chest. He had the zip cord, which a couple of He-Man items had the zip cord. He sticks the zip cord in there, pull it, put him on the ground, and he'll just, you know, he'll fly on his stomach whichever way you face him. So this was a pretty cool character. This was a later in the line of figures as well. And last for the Horde, we have Mosquitor. Now Mosquitor was pretty cool. See right here is where blood will come down. So there's a little pump back here. I'll start pumping it and you'll be able to see. You see the blood coming down? Yeah. So that's kind of what he did. That was a special draw for the toy. It looked like he was bleeding on the inside. So yeah, this is a pretty cool toy. Again, this is another late figure in the line of just Masters of the Universe stuff. Alright, so let's get into the main portion of the He-Man collection. None of these have any separate factions like the Snake Men and the Horde, so I'm just going to go through them. I'm going to show you, I got my Skeletors and He-Mans first, and I'll go through all the rest of the Masters of the Universe characters that I have. First, we'll go with Prince Adam. Didn't do anything special. They just, you know, you needed the Prince Adam character, you know, for kids to be able to turn him into He-Man. I'm sure he had a weapon at some point. I no longer have it. And then we have He-Man. And it is complete. He came with a sword, an axe, and a shield. Again, some of the early figures, they didn't do anything special except for, you know, in the hips, it was spring-loaded, so you put the sword on, you spring-load and have him hit Skeletor or whatever. And we have battle damage He-Man. So you would flip this thing in his chest, and every time you hit it, it would flip, make it look like it had more damage. These weren't my favorite as a kid. I like just the normal He-Man better than these particular ones. And then we have Thunder Punch He-Man, which I am missing some accessories. He had a really cool gold sword. I don't know where it's at. I believe he had a shield as well, but the sword was what was really cool. And it had a place in the back here you'd open up, and you could set a round thing of caps in it. So every time you pulled him back to punch, it would pop a cap, so it would be really loud. So it really sounded like he socked someone good. So. Alright, next we have Skeletor. You see he's got his cane in his face. There we go. And I believe I'm just missing his sword, which I know I have it. I don't know where it's at, but I believe he just had the cane and the sword, so I do have that somewhere. Sword matched the rest of his stuff here, was that same purple. And then we have battle damage Skeletor. Same thing as the He-Man. You'd roll that, hit it, and it would keep getting more damage as you hit it. I think it did up to you can flip it up like at least twice. So that's the Skeletor. And I'm going through these kind of fast because I have a lot of He-Man stuff. I don't want this video to be real super long. I'll do the same thing once I get around to the vehicles. That's another reason I want to split this video, because I just have a bunch. Right, we have Terror Claws Skeletor. You put these claws on his hand, and when you moved it back and forth, he would do this motion like he's coming at you with the claws. Pretty cool character. Again, every time there was like Thunder Punch He-Man came out, and then you had this one or whatever, Skeletor had a different version of with all the extra pieces, something to give him more playability, I guess. And this one here is Dragon Blaster Skeletor. What's cool about this is he had this dragon on his back. Take his head off, fill it full of water, and you can squirt, similar to Cobra Khan. He is missing a chain. I don't know where that's at. There's a chain with like little green handcuffs to make it look like the dragon's chained to his chest. So that's it for the variants that I own. There are a couple other variants, some super rare ones and whatnot, and just some normal variants I just don't have. So let's just get in. I got it piled up here, so I'm just gonna go figure by figure. Alright, we have Extendor. Extendor is pretty cool. He would extend just like the name suggests, like all his limbs and stuff would just get big, and he'd get really huge. So as a kid, I thought this guy was freaking awesome. He was one of my favorites for a long time. I spent many hours playing with that particular figure. And I do have his shield somewhere. He's got a shield that extends as well. It flops open, it gets bigger, so it'll match his size. My all-time favorite character, period, especially the toy, Roboto. Roboto was cool. You move this around, his mouth opens, the gears in his chest move, his heart goes up and down, and I have all 3 of his detachable weapons that attach right here. Okay, moving on, we have Cyclone. I really liked Cyclone when he came out, another one of those cool characters. He had this cool little thing that looked like a galaxy on his chest. You can see it there like a radar. What's cool about him, I'll go ahead and take him out so you can see, is he's very floppy. He gets very floppy. His legs are floppy. He needs a new band in there, I'm sure. He's got this little thing on the side. Kind of hard because his arms won't stay up. But yeah. So you can just make him spin like a cyclone. That was pretty cool about him. I don't remember him being on very many episodes of the series, but the toy was cool. I wish he had shown up more often. Same thing with Roboto. Roboto was built by Man-at-Arms, and he just really did. I only remember 1 or 2 episodes with Roboto. I only remember 1 episode with Cyclone, but the toy was really cool. All right, next we have Manny Faces. He's one of the older ones. I'm pretty sure he was probably in the first line of the toys. But what's cool about him is he could change his face. He had the robot, and then he had the monster, and then he had just his basic face. This one's still in really good shape. His legs are they're pretty solid. I don't know how I managed to take that good care of him. must not have played with him a whole lot, but I always thought he was cool. All right, and now we have Jitsu. He was a bad guy. He had this cool Jitsu chop action, like Kung Fu grip. No, but he did this. So he had the giant hand. Again with He-Man, sometimes they'll make specific characters, and then they'll make an opposite, like a good guy version of him. And actually, let me go ahead and dig him out. And that was Fisto. Fisto did the same thing. He just didn't have the chop. He would just smash with his fist. So same idea. You got the bad guy version and the good guy version. Fisto had a really cool voice in the cartoon. He had almost like an enhanced robot type voice, almost, with the way his voice sounded. Those of you who've seen the series know what I'm talking about, but he sounded really cool. All right, we have another bad guy here. This is Whiplash. Didn't do anything, incredible. His tail was rubber, and you can move it around. Another one of my early favorites, Stratos. I can't remember if he had a weapon or not. He probably did. I don't know, but he doesn't have it. He does have everything else he came with, which is his wings on his arms and his jetpack. Cool character. I really liked him in the cartoons. He was one of the guys who could fly, so, as a kid, it's one of the characters you actually fly around. Next, Ram Man. Now, I didn't get Ram Man until later because my mom was like, I'm not going to buy you Ram Man because he's cheaply made and you're going to break him. I guess, she's partially right. I mean, he's hollow. And then he would ram like that. I mean, he didn't have any moving parts with that in his arms. He was literally like a hollow plastic piece. So I could see how she thought that, but he was on the cartoon. I had to have Ram Man. So I eventually got a Ram Man from the first Ram Man I ever got was actually from a friend of mine in 4th grade. I traded something off of him to get it. We used to trade He-Man figures. And there'll be another figure through here in a little bit that you'll see that I also got from him. Alright. And we have another early character, good guy, Mechaneck. Mechaneck was another one of those. Had a cool ability. So his neck would get big so he could be the dude that scouts out for Skeletor's minions and whatnot. What's nice about these He-Man characters, I don't know if I said it earlier, but most of them only came with 1 or 2 weapons. He's got 1 weapon. And they were, big enough in size where it was a little bit tougher to lose them, unlike a G.I. Joe, because those G.I. Joe weapons were like this big, and it's very hard to find a complete G.I. Joe, and as many weapons as they would come with was insane. always lost G.I. Joe weapons. Another early character, Beastman, Skeletor's sidekick, pretty much. He is complete. His little arm thing came off. I gotta super glue that or something. Has his little whip and everything. So he literally just came with the whip and then the arm pieces. We got Buzz Off. Buzz Off was cool. Another flying character. Had wings. He's got his little helmet there. He was a cool character in the cartoon as well. Got a bad guy. Too Bad. Too Bad was pretty cool. They made him. The toy was actually fun to play with. I always like to think they were hitting each other because you could swing the fist back and it would literally hit the other one in the face. Well, this one didn't hit. It looks like this one did because his bicep is bigger. Pretty cool character. Interesting idea. He was cool on the show. He was kind of an idiot. The heads always fought with each other. Alright, and we have Man-at-Arms. He was technically, he was literally in almost every episode. He was one of the anchors of the show that kind of kept the story going. You find out, well, early in the show that this is Tila's dad, and I don't remember if they ever revealed to Tila who her real mom is, which is a sorceress for people. Spoilers, but I don't remember if she actually ever figured that out or not. But yeah, Man-at-Arms, cool character. Apparently I'm missing at least his mace and whatever else he came with. I know I have the mace somewhere. I don't know. I don't have it in the baggie, so I got to keep an eye out for it. All right, we had Clawful, another bad guy. He had the big claw. They had this thing with making big hands and big things that did things, and his, the claw would open and he could grab things, which is pretty cool. We had Zodak. Zodak, I don't really remember a lot about him. He was an older character. People who watch the show might remember Zodak. I don't remember seeing him in a ton of episodes, but his character was definitely good. But yeah, the toy was pretty simple. It didn't do anything. It was like He-Man. He came with a gun, and then he had the torso motion. All right, and now we have Trapjaw. Trapjaw was pretty cool. He had a movable mandible there, a little spot on his head with a hole, so you could actually put a string and he could slide down the string. Have all of his weapons that go into his arm. Again, he was kind of like the pre-Roboto with the 3 accessories that you could attach to his arm. That's probably why they got the idea for Roboto, I imagine. And here's Webster. Webster was an interesting character. A lot of Websters got broke fairly easily because on his back he has a grappling hook. If I can get him out of this bag. But yeah, he's got this grappling hook in the back. And I just kind of wrapped around his arm so it would get all tangled up. I don't want this thing getting in knots. So what you would do is you would set this on the side of something, and then you would pull this, and when you pull this, it actually projected him up through the line, which was pretty cool. This one actually still works. I have an old one. I had to get the back replaced, but this one, my old one stopped working. I think a lot of people did, because this thing would come off and it would unspool and it'd be gone. I think my old one, what I did is I actually ended up tying what was left of this to like his neck or his arm or something, so he'd at least have a hook. But I got lucky and I managed to find this replacement with a full working gear set up here back for his grappling hook. All right, and here is a bad guy, Faker. Now, obviously, he's faking himself to be. He's pretending to be He-Man. He literally has. You see his. He's got the same thing, the same clothing Skeletor has, but he's blue and he's got the orange sword. And under his breastplate here, you see a sticker, part of a sticker. It's like an electronics. If I'm right, he was a robot. So he was supposed to pretend to be He-Man in specific episodes. Next, we have Snout Spout. He was another later character. Really, really cool idea. Again, with the water, you fill up a little tank back there with water, and then he had this little button here. You would hit this, and then he would just start spitting water out of the tip of his trunk. So wherever you pointed it, it would go. What I liked about this character that they didn't do in like any of the characters is his legs have joints. It's not connected with a rubber band, so it had almost as much movement, but you didn't have to worry about the rubber band rotting and his legs falling off. which was pretty cool. So this character was actually made very well compared to some of the other He-Man characters. All right, we have one of the female figures. This is Evil Lynn. And what they did is they used the same exact body sculpt for Teela, which you'll see in a bit. She is complete. She only had the staff. All right, and we have Spikor. Now, I know I have his weapon somewhere. He has a spiked mace, of course, and I don't know where it's at. But his big ability is this thing would pop out. You know, his arm was straight, it didn't bend, and that would come out, and he had little rubber spikes everywhere. So I always thought this was a really cool character growing up. I thought the idea was really cool. We have another old baddie. This is Merman. Again, like some of the old ones, he didn't do anything special besides the waist, spring-loaded waist. Got his sword, his full getup is there. Next character I'm going to show you utilizes the exact same mold. they did that in He-Man. Almost every arm and leg is the exact same. Like the arms they use for him are the same arms that they use for Skeletor. So you can imagine it was very cheap to make these figures and to make huge bulk off of them. They would just reutilize the same body parts and just repaint them. Stinkor, same face. They just painted him to look like a skunk. Same arms. Skeletor had the same arms and the same feet there too. Now, there's no reason for me to open. I can't show you what he smells like, but he still has that odor from the day that when I opened him up, they actually put an odor on him, which was kind of a cool idea. It's not a horrible odor. It's just a weird. It's a weird odor. It wasn't putrid or anything like that, so you didn't have kids like getting all sick from the smell. It had this weird smell to it. I can't even explain the smell that it has. All right, one of my all-time favorite characters. I'm gonna open him up. That is Rio Blast. I loved him so much because of everything that he did. I mean, he had a lot of stuff going for him. You know, when you're a kid, you love guns and you love all the cool stuff. So he has this backpack. So you get in a full battle mode, all these guns would come out. I mean, even his freaking legs had guns, his kneecaps, and then in his chest. I mean, he's just completely loaded with guns. I mean, whoever came across him in the series, you know, wasn't going to have a good day. But I really liked him. Cool character. I loved all the fact he had all these hidden guns all over his body. All right, so next I have Champ Clamp, or Clamp Champ. I can't remember. I think it's Clamp Champ. So yeah, cool character. His gun, you hit the little switch here, and these clamps would come out and grab. Pretty cool idea. Next figure. This is actually from the She-Ra Princess of Power line, but I got him because it was a guy character that I liked from the series. That's Bo. He was literally one of the only male characters on the good side. And as you can see, he doesn't have all the crazy muscles. He's more dumbed down because he was actually packaged in a Princess of Power packaging rather than a He-Man packaging. And he is complete. Next, we have Teela. And again, like I was saying before with Evil Lynn, same body sculpt. So they wouldn't have to make two specific, separate body sculpts. It made it cheaper to produce a bunch of Teelas and Evil Lynns. Another mainstay baddie, Triclops. His big thing is he could move his head to. He had eyes that got more angry as it went along. Pretty much. Pretty cool guy. Again, he is one of those characters that had a really cool voice in the show. All right, we have King Randor. Good guy King. They never made his wife. I can't remember her name, but I don't think they ever made her a figure. Here's Blast Attack. Now I'll actually show you what he does. He's pretty cool. So he's got his little weapon, and he's got this little piece here. So this, you just pop it in his back, and you would just hit this button. He would just come apart. So I was holding his legs together, but if you have him standing and do it, he'll fly apart. But yeah, that's what he did. Always come up with another cool idea. All right, we got another old school character, Orko. He's got this zip cord. Put it in the side of him. He's got this little metal thing here. So you pull it, and he would just go kind of random directions on whatever table surface you had him on. I'm pretty sure he had some other items that came with him. He had something else that had to do with where he would sit. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But you guys watching, if you want to find out what he came with, you can look up, you know, on eBay or whatever, complete Orko character. And then we have Ninjor. So this has all his weapons. Pretty cool character. Didn't do anything special. He just had this really cool like cloth suit that went over him, and he's got the cool bow and arrow with the sword. Don't know much about him. I don't even know if he was in the cartoon, honestly. I don't remember ever seeing him in the cartoon. Here's one from the actual live action movie. This is Blade. I don't have... There's at least one other character from the movie that I never got, and that was I can't remember his name. Started with a G, or I can't remember. But he's the one that had the little piano thing, the key thing they were all looking for. He was the little gnome dude or whatever. I don't have him, but I managed to get Blade. I actually got Blade as part of a toy lot I got. So this actually is not from my childhood. Here's the other figure I traded from my friend when I got the Ram Man, and that is the Sorceress. Now she had an all new body sculpt versus the old ones, because she actually came out later in the line. It's got a 1986. Yeah, 1986, when the early toys came out, you know, 83. So this was a little bit later in the line. There wasn't a whole lot of He-Man characters being printed after that. But I'm only missing her wand that she had, her staff. But again, she's not an easy character to come by. I'm glad I got her when I did, back in 4th grade. And last, Scareglow. Now, he was another late one, you know, probably 86 as well. He would just glow he glowed in the dark, so you just put him under light for a bit, and then he would glow. That was his big deal. So was the cape. I'm missing the staff. I don't know if I still have it or not. I could somewhere in a box. I keep coming across things that I thought I got rid of, or things I forgot that I even had. So, yeah, he's actually one of the harder ones to come by, too. Probably top 5. The other 2 big ones I don't have are Rotar, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But they were the 2 characters that look like tops, and you know, you could spin them and they would spin around or whatnot. But they're not cheap at all. But those are next on my list. I'd like to get them just because I've got almost a full set, at least for the figures, and almost a full set for the vehicles and whatnot, which you'll see in the next video. So thank you guys for stopping by and checking out my toy video. It's been a while since I've done one, and they take longer to do than normal videos. And luckily I have all this stuff here, and right now, you know, it's rough going out there and game hunting with everything going around with the virus scare and whatnot. So I'll keep continuing to do videos like this, at least for the next couple weeks, depending on how long they take to get out. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
Who's the big guy with the muscles?
He's He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Skeletor is his enemy.
He-Man.
Here's He-Man, Skeletor, and Castle Grayskull. You have to put the castle together.
You're doomed, He-Man.
Oh, yeah? Watch this action, Dad.
He-Man.
Now I have the power.
He-Man and Skeletor each sold separately. Castle Grayskull also sold separately from the Masters of the Universe collection from Mattel.